Tonight at 11.
Doom! All right, now we get into the nanny stuff. All right, so the clips are kind of out of order, but we're going to try and go through this in the way that seemed logical to me. I pre-watched everything and tried to make like the story more coherent, although some of these events do happen before and after. But let's see what Nick has to say. This is on the PAS podcast, PAS. Let's see what Nick has to say. And
the former nanny, by the way, that bitch, I've been finding out, she gave my 11-year-old alcohol.
Now, these women are very disgusted by this. Now, you should not give children alcohol if you're not their parent. When I was a kid, my dad gave me like a sip of beer from now and then. Like, nothing wrong with that. But that's the parent's choice. So unacceptable. If this is true, frankly, I don't believe it. I don't think this is true. I think that what's happening here is that the kids were either caught with alcohol or the alcohol went missing. And now that the nanny's gone, the kids are using her as a useful excuse. Now that the nanny's missing and these stories are just now coming up, I don't believe these for a second. Now, Nick would go on to clarify that it was a sip of a White Claw, which I think is like 5%. So it's like a sip of beer, basically. So if it is true, it's still wrong. But it's not like these people, like, look at this face. They're talking to a man that has a child that tested positive for cocaine. And they're like, oh, she had a White Claw? The selective outrage is very interesting, don't you think? That would be my first thing that I would notice there.
She paid, when my daughter had a friend over to stay the night, she paid each of them $75 to chug 2 Monster energy drinks in a row.
Why? This does not make $75. This woman, most people like in America don't make $150 a day. If you're trying to make money, this is your job. Why are you giving children $75 each? $150. What do you mean? To drink Monster energy drinks? Why? If you're a nanny, you want the kids to go to bed. You don't want them to be hyper and energetic. This makes no fucking sense. I don't believe this story ever whatsoever. There's no way this is true.
What?
Yeah, finding out about this shit has been really nice.
Now, some people have made the argument that Nick was... so Nick will later claim in these clips that the nanny was stealing alcohol from them as well, and that Nick blames some other person. That wasn't April or Aaron at this time. Although I guess it could have been, there is a little bit of an overlap where when Aaron was there. So maybe it was Aaron. Maybe he was suggesting Aaron. Maybe it was the 17-year-old son. But Nick got very mad that somebody was stealing his alcohol, which he said, strangely enough, was valued at $150. So the kids have had this $150 of alcohol goes missing, and then the kids suddenly have $75 each. It's a little bit strange how that lines up. Not necessarily the case that is true, but the kids stealing the alcohol, giving it to their friends, selling it. It's a much more likely story than the nanny was giving them booze. I'm sorry. I don't know if that's true or not. It sounds like it makes a lot more sense to me.
But yeah. She stole my liquor like crazy, but I thought it was someone else. And I actually I griped at the person who I thought was drinking the alcohol. I was like, because I'd come back from very nice, somebody like a 2-day trip or whatever. And there'd be like bottles of whiskey missing. Some of these things, are like $150 bottles. So I'd care that they were gone. And I thought it was someone else. And it turns.
So also notice the importance in his life. He has no idea that the kids are doing $75 shots of Monster. He has no idea that the nanny's giving them Coke. The second a drop of his whiskey is missing, he knows immediately. He can sense it. It's like literally that's his dragon horde. If somebody's been sneaking around in my Baldo bunker, taking my drops of whiskey that are on well, actually, there'll be, I guess, no drops of whiskey on the carpet because he licks the bottle. It's interesting priorities.
She would just, I've been finding this out for my kids. Like she would just go up into our bedroom and just pound down liquor sitting in bed. And that's how she was nannying our children. So.
All right, I got an interesting DM that says kids are stealing booze and selling it so they can buy food to eat because the side piece and the mother doesn't feed them. That's very funny, but very sad at the same time. But a little bit of dark humor is fine. I mean, maybe they were having to sell money, selling the booze just to get by. They're like living. It's like the stalker situation over there. They're in the shadow of Chernobyl. They're going down to the camp and dealing with the people selling the vodka so that they can get food. and anti-rad or whatever, just living in the Minnesota. Jefferson C. Poe says, kids emulate their parents, Nick, you liar. This is very true as well. And this is what makes the bunkers drug safe very interesting question to me, because absolutely kids emulate their parents all the time, and Nick is constantly drinking on stream, and the kids did see his stream. They knew about his stream. People in his co-op constitutional school class, the kids would talk about him, and they were like asking him, like, can we watch your videos? He's like, no, you can't watch them, but they knew about them. So it's not hard to find. You just search for Rekieta. Like, the spelling of his name makes it very easy to find his channel, despite that Nick will tell you that he's being shadow banned, which he absolutely is not. So the kids will watch him doing this. He talks about how cool it is to drink, how cool it is to do drugs, how cool it is to have a mistress. Like, this is like one of the most shocking things about all of this. As I mentioned this like last stream, is that Nick is teaching his sons that it's okay to have a second bitch if you get married. But yeah, kids are doing these drugs all the time, and they've got access to drugs because it's in the house. It's being left around the place. The cops found it within 10 minutes. That's how easy it was to find. It's totally possible that the kids were just ingesting it because they were copying daddy. I don't think that Nick... I'm kind of curious about this. I wonder if Nick knows that he's such a bad person, or if he's creating this alternative reality in his own mind where Aaron and Keanu are the bad guys and they have to be stopped. They're like literally just the essence of evil, and that's why he gets to be so mad about them, because he can't rationalize in his own mind just how much danger he put his entire family into. But let's continue.
So it's been nice to learn about.
It's nice. It's fun.
I might report her to the police. I don't know.
I don't think that's going to happen. All right, so I think there was a bunch of Nanny streams. He had his own like Nanny sees stream, and then he talked about it on his thing. But this is the synopsis. We'll go through the notes. That was, I believe this was Melty Butter's work on Kiwi Farms. If not, then I apologize. This is the synopsis. Let's see. I'm taking notes in real time, and behind the thread, this is getting crazy. It needs to be clipped. Daughter told us in the last couple of weeks that the nanny gave them alcohol. To be clear, this was the nanny we had before April. It was a little jarring. The nanny's name is Shani, and it's been edited out, although Nick will talk about her quite a bit. Have no desire to protect her identity anymore. Fuck her. He actually, like, essentially calls his horde of people to, like, go harass her, which I'll show you later. No, I don't want folks to harass her. I just don't care if people know who she is. I do want people to know that she gave people alcohol. You don't know this. This is just a story that you've heard, allegedly. We don't even know if this story is even true from your child, or if they even told the story. Maybe you're just making it up. Because some people have suggested that Nick now believes that his ex-nanny is the Minnesota Public Records, and that's why he's trying to discredit her, to get ahead of a story that apparently is coming out. Because while I am a little bit confused why Minnesota Public Records hasn't dropped the alleged 70 pages they have, maybe they're waiting for some event. I don't know. It seems like Nick is he always start doing these little like pre-work, trying to get ahead of everything when these big drama drops happen. I wonder what'll happen up with the body cam. I mean, he's already started to talk about the piles of clothes in his house, multiple piles. He says they're all color coordinated, though. Not sure about that. We'll have to wait and see. Like, do people still separate their clothing when they wash them now? Like, I just throw all my shit in the same wash together, and I have no problems. My whites are whites, and my darks are darks. It's fine. I'm a very progressive person with my washing. Let me see. She committed a crime. Reported on me. Now she was an informant on one of these people, right? I don't mind if people hear that she committed a crime against my children. She was one of the people who was interviewed despite not being in the home since mid-February. Well, she was, I believe the CPS interviewed her in February. She didn't disclose this at the time, but there is a February CPS report against her. Specifically, we didn't know about it. Now, this is how Nick lies. We're going to have a look at this. So Nick says the CPS report is against her. So Nick has been saying this as well. He's been lying to his audience, saying the nanny CPS report was against her by my daughter's dance instructor, actually. Now, if we look at this is from the, I believe, 15th of February, 2023. Child Protection Intake says Candy Ojai County Health Services screened a report of neglect of, I believe, the two daughters by Mrs. Rekieta and Mr. Rekieta and an unnamed nanny, that's the nanny he's referring to, for inadequate provision of physical needs, food, clothing, and shelter, due to not enough details as to how this is affecting the children's daily functioning. No indication it is daily that they haven't eaten at all. No indication they aren't offered food. Screened out because it does not meet maltreatment criteria. So this is a report against Nick. because people were complaining that Nick's children were smelly and Nick's children were hungry and Nick's children were wearing the same clothes day after day. And then because the unnamed nanny is in this report about him, he then goes to say that this is a CPS report against her because she was taking them to the dance instructor, and maybe the dance instructor was the reporter that is unnamed in the court. Nick does this so many times. He takes the things that are about him and then tries to say that this is about Aaron or this is about his nanny. Like, he tries to say all these things. It's insane. Let's see what Nick says.
We can talk about how there are people out there defending the person who illegally gave my child alcohol.
No. We're defending the nanny because we have no reason to believe she did this. We're not defending the act of somebody that is not their parent giving their child an alcohol. That is detestable, and you should never do it, because if a parent chooses to do that, that's one thing. There's no evidence that this exists. That's what people are defending, is that the nanny probably didn't do anything wrong, and you're just seething about it. And in fact, people contacted the lawyers that Shani worked for 6 years. And it says, she was our nanny for 6 years. I saw the videos. She would never, ever do something like that. There is no reason to believe that nanny's done anything apart from Nick's own actions. I think he just projects all of his mistakes onto other people. I think that's what's happening here.
Why did you let the nanny continue to be the nanny if you found out she was drunk while watching the kids?
This is a really good question. And there's going to be some dead air for a moment. We're going to see some edits of this. All right, so this is a very good question. Why did you let the nanny stay there? Another good question might be, why did your wife go back to the massage place after the guy rubbed her tits? And she went back to, she couldn't lose that coupon for the two session deal. But this is a great question. Why did Nick wait 1 week? 1 week to fire his nanny.
Fire? Why did you let the nanny continue to be the nanny if you found out she was drunk while watching the kids? All of this stuff happened within like a week. It was really fast.
Dead air.
I don't know, like how you fire someone faster, but it was crazy.
I don't know. Okay, that's a very important line. I don't know how you fire somebody fast. All right, let's check the tapes, shall we? Let's check the tapes. This is before. This is well before. This is July 6, 2024. So almost an entire year ago. This is what Nick was saying. This is on Camelot's stream, I believe. So let's
is there any reason why the nanny left? I don't, because we've never talked about that. Like, you never told me like why you had one.
It's really fuzzy. I'll say yes. Obviously, there's a reason that the nanny left, and we got one story from her, and I don't think that story was honest.
Wait a second. I thought you fired her a week after she was drunk on the job.
Because I've seen some other information about it, and I don't want to put her on blast in any way. Like it just happened.
All right. So basically, the theory is that the nanny was propositioned into the sex cult that Nick was running, or he was trying to start with his quadruple, truple, whatever it's called. And she was disgusted because she could see Aaron and could see April coming over and doing all this weird shit. Now, Nick went on after the nanny was being defamed by Nick, saying that she was doing all these terrible things. Aaron came out and said that the nanny was disgusted by all of this, and that's why she left. And then Nick said she was disgusted by you, to which Aaron responded, she was disgusted by the entire situation, as any normal person would be.
So it was sudden and kind of devastating for us, but hey, it is what it is. And you don't really get to like object to the, like, I object. You have to stay. No, I mean, like, someone quits their job, they quit their job. No, I mean, like, someone quits their job, they quit their job. Why did you let the nanny continue to be the nanny if you found out she was drunk while watching the kids? All of this stuff happened within like a week. It was really fast.
Oh yeah, they have the emotion. Someone edited it in. It's better. Downloading. It's a good edit. I like it.
I don't know, like how you fire someone faster, and you.
Now this is strange because I've heard from very reputable sources that Nick never lies. So this is quite perplexing for me.
Don't really get to like object to the, like, I object. You have to stay. You have to stay. But
so he wanted her to be there. In fact, he's mad because her going and leaving his profession means that he has to clean up the fucking house, and then he didn't, and then he got arrested.
It was crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah, Nick asked her to finish the school. Yeah, like she was good enough. She was good enough that she was they wanted her to stay. Now, that was a year ago. Then a week ago, he said that he fired her. Now, as of, I believe this was a few days ago. This was probably the same stream as the Keanu one. I'm not sure because he goes on that show, or at least is in the chat of that show so often. So he changed his story again. And now he's going back to saying that she quit. Let's have a look.
This person left. She left our employ. I think her last day was officially March 1st, but she gave her 2 weeks notice on February 16th and then was sick for at least 10, if not 12 of those days.
Sick of probably being around Nick. So she gave 2 weeks notice. It's like, he's just a compulsive liar. He just can't help it.
So that being said, she left. Now, she and my oldest daughter had a very complicated relationship because by the end.
Ooh, now this is a very strange part of it. And I think the very I don't want to. I have no reason to believe this is the case, but it is my assumption that the complicated relationship that the nanny had with their daughter is that the nanny was more of a mother, or more of a parent to the child than Nick or Kayla. I think that's the complicated relationship.
It was getting very tense. And
probably because the nanny was being there in their employ for 5 years, which is basically the entire life for some of these children. And she probably developed a bond with them, a protective maternal bond with these children. And then seeing what Nick, April, and Kayla were doing, she probably made the decision that she can't take the kids with her, so she had to get out of that situation because it's too painful to watch. That's what I think happened.
Daughter has been telling me is that basically the relationship between them was very manic.
I don't know what he means by this.
There'd be like, she would be up in some way. I'm not accusing her of being on any drug or anything like that. I'm just talking about emotionally. She would be up and she would, hang out with my daughter and watch rated R horror movies and stuff. I didn't know about any of this. That's not that big of a deal.
Now, again, I don't think that's much of a big deal either. Although, again, she should probably get permission from the parents to do these. All of these things, the parents should know about this. These are the things you have to talk to your children about. You have to talk to your children. Say, how was your day? What did you do yesterday? How was last night with Cheney? What did you guys do? You have to ask it. These are dinner time conversations. If I hate these stories where the parents come out and they're like, well, I had no idea the teacher was doing this. I had no idea my nanny was doing this. Why didn't you talk to your children and ask them about their lives?
Deal to me. I don't want to oversell it, but my daughter didn't know that wasn't a big deal to me until she started telling me. So she had mentioned several movies that they watched, and I was like, well, okay, I guess. And then she started talking more about the circumstances. But when the nanny left our employ, we thought it was because of the tension between those two at first. And then because she had sent an ambiguous message to Kayla about, because we were trying to figure out, we're like, why are you quitting? What is going on? We don't know anything about it. She sent an ambiguous message to Kayla, and
probably because Nick propositioned her and she didn't know how to get out of the situation. She's probably like, I don't want to tell you that your husband tried to fuck me, but this is just not working out anymore. There's so many different situations and they're all terrible. What do you guys think actually happened here?
Thought that was about my 11-year-old daughter, and she felt really horrible about that because she thought that it was her fault that the nanny was leaving. We finally got an exit interview with her.
That's really sad. The 11-year-old in this situation, the one that they have the closest bond with, she's like, why is the nanny leaving? Is it because of me? While the parents are constantly drugged out and high and drunk, and they're like, we have no idea why she's leaving. What do you mean? Fucking hell. Fierce Rama says Cheney probably had to explain the 4-parent sleepovers. That could be it as well. That's probably part of it, honestly.
In April, right around tax time, and she said, no, that wasn't the reason at all. But she didn't disclose what the reason was. She told the police that she had become suspicious that there was some sort of relationship she didn't approve of in the house. And so that's why she decided to quit.
Now, you might say that's being a busybody, but the majority of cases where children are mistreated by adults, it is almost always cases where the parents have brought these people into their lives. You see this a lot with like single parent households. The boyfriend or the girlfriend will join and they're an abuser, and they use the relationship with the parent as a means of getting to the child, especially if you have a sexual dynamic with these people. You have two adults that are coming in, you know nothing about them, and they're coming in, they're doing sleepovers, they're cooking for the parents. You are right to be concerned in these situations, because in these sort of degenerate throuple situations is where a lot of abuse comes from. No, not necessarily like a throuple or a thing, but like when you have these like less than regular sexual relationship dynamics between groups of adults. This is a very dangerous part for children, okay? Bringing these unknown adults into your house and staying over multiple nights when everyone's asleep in the early hours of the morning when they're unprotected, like when everyone, maybe if someone's coked up, this like Nick is so drunk he can't get up unless there's like thunder outside or something. Like this is when these deviant, and I'm not saying that April and Aaron are deviant, but like in cases like this is what happens. They come into the house through these weird relationships, and then they use that position in the household. They gain authority in the household to take advantage of the vulnerable people in that situation. And maybe it's not the children, maybe it's the wife, maybe it's the girlfriend, maybe it's taking advantage of their finances or their drugs or anything. This is a very concerning thing to happen for any outside observer, and she was absolutely right to report it if she felt that there wasn't like 100% above board. All right, let's see. Why hasn't he reported Shani?
Sorry to hear about your nanny and what she exposed your kid to. Did you contact law enforcement and CPS? Sounds like abuse. I found out about these things long after our nanny had left, well over a year after that the alleged incidents occurred.
It was Bud said years ago.
So no, my children were no longer in any danger from this person,
except from Nick, since he was throwing cocaine into the car at the traffic stop. Fucking hell.
So no, I have not contacted CPS or law enforcement about it.
It's still shocking to me that he gave that detail out.
I haven't decided if I will or not. We're still within the statute of limitations. So Eric Duff says, because it's a lie. Well, it isn't. Don't. Toe is claiming.
Hold on a second. Is that a fly?
Don't. Duff says, because it's a lie. Well, it isn't.
There's flies buzzing around his head. I heard the rumors were true, but look.
Limitations.
Look around here. There's like a fly buzzing around his head.
So Eric Duff says, because it's a lie. Well, it isn't. Don't. Toe is claiming he has been called by the county for nanny info. It's really surprising. You would think that they would call me, right? The parent of the child involved. But instead, no, they've run to the source.
Well, no, they didn't call you. They arrested you. And then they found the cocaine and guns and the smelly house and the piles of laundry, which we may soon see.
Authority on it. The person who hasn't been here in quite some time, they're going to run to him to see what he knows about it. He doesn't know anything. Oversell it or anything.
All right.
So, and like I don't want to oversell it or anything. It's just like a sip of like White Claw or something like that. And
now again, that's unacceptable if it is true, but a sip of White Claw, it does not quite compare to what was the level? 500 the metabolites in his daughter's hair. That's acceptable. That's fine. That's just forget about that. Just forget about that. But a sip of White Claw, that absolute monster, even though I don't believe that's true. And if it is true, that's unacceptable. But if that is the truth, it's literally nothing, fucking nothing. And he's trying to make this a big, it's 5,000. The cutoff was, that's right. That was 5,000. It was 10 times the limit. Oh my goodness. Now it's only a sip. Yeah. The trickle truth has started. I think what happened is what probably happened is that Nick heard this story, if he did indeed hear it at all. Then he had a big fit about it, and he's thinking about how he could finally get revenge on that bitch in his mind. I think she's a lovely lady that has done no wrong, as far as I can see. And then he probably tried to inquire with he says, I don't want to re-traumatize my daughter. He probably interrogated his daughter, and then she revealed that it wasn't a big deal, and that's why he's backing off on it now. That's what I would imagine.
Hit the like button.
A lot of Doom boys out there.
Fuck off, dude.